Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back. Debt discharge. According to Investopedia, debt discharge is the cancellation of a debt due to bankruptcy. When a debt is discharged, the debtor is no longer liable for the debt, and the lender is no longer allowed to make attempt to collect the debt. Debt discharge can result in taxable income to the debtor unless certain IRS conditions are met. What was just read? Debt discharge is the cancellation of a debt due to bankruptcy. In order for the discharge of debt to occur, one has to prove the status of bankruptcy. Status of bankruptcy does not necessarily have to be fixed upon you filing a formal brief or pleading in a quote bankruptcy court. As we already know, or at least we should at this point, the correspondence is the court. And that bankruptcy does not have to be fixed to the status of the debtor. Meaning, if someone is coming to you saying, all right, pay up, give me my money, and you invoke debt discharge, whatever type of discharge it is, we're not speaking of the specific ones here, we're just talking about discharge now, because you got to understand this first before you look into the different types of discharge. Someone is saying, give me my money, give me something you owe me. And you're saying, all right, I'm going to discharge it. You saying that you're discharging that presumption of liability does not always have to be based on your status of bankruptcy. When a debt is discharged, the debtor is no longer liable for the debt, and the lender is no longer allowed to make attempt to collect the debt. It's been dismissed. Debt discharge can result in taxable income, meaning even then, even if you discharge some liability, they will do some forms on you, and that will be classified in the ledger of accounting as acquisition on your end, and they will send you the 1099 form that, hey, look, since you discharged this, we're snitching on you now so that you can still get taxed anyway, right? And then qualifies that to say that unless certain IRS conditions are met. So now you see everyone going into the bandwagon of discharge, house joint resolution, bankruptcy, and you don't comprehend how trust really functions, because that's the only way you can really meet the proper condition of this IRS in order for you not to qualify for taxation. That's if you discharge successfully. Everything is always plain and clear, right in plain sight. None of these things are secret. Those who have discharged will tell you the next thing that comes after that are 1099 forms at the end of the year. So now prerequisite knowledge of how trust function is necessary, or else they're going to come after you that, hey, look, you earned this amount. Because to discharge something means you have an extra amount in your pocket, and thus it's automatically classified as income that is taxable. But tax is based on conditions that you first have to qualify for. Hence, those conditions must not be met. And we've been speaking about that in many different ways. Any video regarding trust is specific to that. Any video about property asset or property protection is specific to that. Basics are very important before you start to embark on certain things. Now, how many thousands of people are going on about discharge but don't even comprehend this basic stuff? It's a form of protection when people try to discharge and it doesn't work, unbeknownst to them. Because if it does work and they don't have certain things in line, ready, it's like living in a box called a house without a roof. When it rains, you're better off just going outside and getting soaked. That is that right there. But even more important, you would hear and see things regarding how debt discharge is done whenever the people you intend to subrogate chooses to perform if it's in their favor. Good old 31 USC 3113, right? But how do you actually make it in their favor so that it's not just merely some hit and miss, or at the least increase that odd of that hit and miss to about a good 6 to 4 odds of success to failure? In order for you to do that, you have to comprehend how the monetary system works. In order for you to do that, you must comprehend what is behind the concept of reserve currency. The reason why they call that thing, quote unquote, US dollar, the reason why they call it Federal Reserve Note, those are not mere fanciful words. FRN, that R, that stands for reserve, in the middle of that acronym, Federal Reserve Note, if you know what that term reserve means, discharge will be much easier for you. Discharge will go beyond the realm of some speculation. And in order for you to comprehend what that term reserve means, as in when a certain nation's currency is used as a reserve currency of the world, right, that is what we're speaking of. Merely knowing that House Joint Resolution 192 exists somewhere and misinterpreting the language of that resolution is one. Merely saying that the United States is under the status of bankruptcy, even though that is not true. If you know anything about bankruptcy, you know bankruptcies exist in different forms. And if performed successfully, it removes you from the status of a debtor, aka subrogation, aka equity, that everyone rants about. And that is exactly what discharge is. When it comes to formality, of course, things like writs are classified under equitable relief. When it comes to financial other aspect, it's not limited to the venue of what people call courthouses. Subrogations like discharge is an equitable relief. People talking about equity where it's at, equity this. People have already been talking about equitable relief since the 1900s. This stuff that people think they're trying to go to, they don't even know about it. If you want to discharge successfully, you must comprehend how the currency system functions, because that will show you exactly why that thing within 31 USC 3113 is structured precisely the way it is. This 31 USC 3113, accepting gifts. There are IRS manuals that basically let you know whatever it is you give to us as taxation, whatever it is that you give to any agencies of the United States, whether it's your credit card company, mortgage company, car loan. Think of it. If you're handing your sweat equity to anyone, IRS manuals tell you it's all gifts. And that directly links to this. But the specificity of the verbiage of how they put the gift to use is basically based on the common sense that, okay, you give me a gift, I'm not obligated to take it. You're kind enough to offer it, which is a basic mode of operation in commerce. Offer, consideration, based on certain conditions, and then acceptance of it. Or before acceptance, you negotiate it one way or the other, and then you accept it, right? Accepting gifts. To provide the people of the United States with an opportunity to make a gift to the United States government to be used to reduce the public debt. We went over the difference between federal deficit and national debt. Same thing. Here it's letting you know about public debt. Federal deficit being how they do their accounting to subrogate so that they're not liable to the stipulations in Article 6 of the United States Constitution, therefore perpetuating the national debt itself to remain in a condition where they're not liable to give anyone anything. The part a lot of people know of is B. The Secretary and Administrator each may reject a gift under this section when the rejection is in the interest of the government. So they're telling you here, based on our own predominant liability, public debt, we can accept what you're offering to us as a gift if it benefits us. It tells you about them rejecting it if it's in their interest. The question you ought to ask yourself is, well, given all those prerequisite information, how can they accept it? If they reject it, if it's in their interest, how is it in their interest to accept it? For you to understand the answer to that, you have to know how the currency system works. And in order for you to comprehend that, you must first know that this thing called discharge is not some modern principle that was given birth to with House Joint Resolution 192. When you hear the phrase called the world order, whether it's new or old, the first thing that comes in people's mind is they think some devil worshippers, what they think as the Illuminati, some fear. But here's the truth about the world order. The full 54 minutes video is on the Patreon page. Thanks to my patron, and thanks to everyone else who watches the videos on YouTube. Take care. Best of luck.